a lot of teenagers growing up. Like I know my son when he was younger used to spend, stay up way too late watching Xbox. And the challenge with things like Xbox and those sort of interactive games is while your brain rationally saying that this is not real, I'm not really shooting someone or bashing someone or whatever, your nervous system can't differentiate the difference.
Oh, okay.
So your body and your physiology is responding as if you're actually there doing it.
Yeah.
And a couple of things, it desensitizes to this whole concept of violence.
Yep.
We're actually actively taking part in it, all of our kids actively taking part in it. But it also keeps the nervous system really overstimulated.
And welcome to Health and Wellbeing. Greg Richard here, joined by Peter Mullen. Peter, great to see you.
Thank you, Greg. Good to see you.
Very good. I'll just put your mic on, mate, before we start the call up again.
That might help.
Now, Peter, what have you got for us today? You're talking about screen time a little bit earlier.
Yeah, well, as we near the school holidays, I thought it might be timely to have a discussion about something that the kids will, and adults, will probably spend a lot of time with or time doing this Christmas holidays. And unfortunately, it's not just spending time with family, it's spending time with their screens. So
right, so your iPads, your devices, your iPhones, and
Xbox, and we were talking in the break before about it's us adults as well that have issues with too much screen time. So
possibly maybe worse.
I don't think we're setting a very good example.
Not overly great for not just kids, but also it's not overly great for adults to be spending too much time looking at screens.
Yeah, well, look, absolutely, and you only have to sort of look around. I think you were saying your friend took that video, or that took that photo.
Yeah, took a photo of a group of friends at a house, and everyone's on looking at a screen, not talking to anyone. There's about 10 of them there.
Yeah, and how common is that? I saw a similar photo a couple of years back of commuters at a train station, and there was one person looking around. Everybody else had their head looking at a screen. So, yeah, we're definitely not setting good examples for our kids.
No, it's an awful example to set.
Yeah, and I think too, like with screen time, and this includes TV as well. We often think TV is a bit removed from, Xbox and computers and PlayStation and stuff like that. But, the general guidelines, and these are Australian guidelines for kids. We'll start with kids. So children 2 to 5, any screen time, so this is TV really, should be limited to 1 hour a day max.
Really?
Yeah.
I know a lot of kids who definitely are over that. So.
Absolutely. And if you think of it, kids 2 to 5, they really shouldn't need to be entertained by something on TV like that is cartoons or
that constantly has bright flashing lights.
And and those food companies, which we won't name, their ads coming up every 5 minutes as well. Like, it's really leaving your kids open to a wide range of influence out of our control. And I know as a parent, like my kids are 23 and 19, but even back 23 years ago, we did use TV sometimes as my goodness, I need a break. Here, watch this.
A kind of a quick babysitter, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's a terrible thing to say.
We all fall in, we do all fall into those traps. So, excuse me. So children 2 to 5, screen time limited to 1 hour per day. 6+, it's been recommended parents determine the time restrictions and monitor the types of digital media. Infants aged 2 years and younger should not be exposed to any digital media.
Oh, okay.
So that's
fair enough.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not quite sure what kids under the age of 2 are doing on social media.
Social media anyway. And this has been hugely important for brain development and healthy parent-child connections. Also being links to later life of development of ADD and ADHD. But whether that's the case or not, with anyone, the quality of our relationship purely depends on the amount of time we spend with them.
Yep.
And I think, with our kids particularly, this is really relevant. So I think we really need to have a bit of a rethink about what our kids are doing and where they're spending their time.
Exactly, because it goes so fast. Next thing you know, they're 23.
Absolutely. And still causing grief. Only joking. I don't think my son's listening today, so I'll be fine with that comment. So drawbacks of screen time, obviously, and this is any age group. Obesity. Children are naturally full of energy, but they need to get out and do stuff. Like they're little wild animals. They need to be exercised well every day.
And I suppose sorry to cut you off, but
you're right.
The popularity of how it's sort of people do binge watching TV now.
And I'm actually a bit guilty of that.
I'm massively guilty of that.
Netflix type shows.
Yeah.
Once you get hooked into a series, like how many times do you sort of think, we'll just watch one more episode and then stay up way too late? So
next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
So we're guilty too, Greg.
Yes, we're extremely guilty.
So yeah, obesity, sleep deprivation, and kids generally need to sleep on average 10 to 12 hours a night. So a lot of teenagers growing up, like I know my son when he was younger used to spend, stay up way too late watching Xbox. And the challenge with things like Xbox and those sort of interactive games is while your brain rationally is saying that this is not real, I'm not really shooting someone or bashing someone or whatever, your nervous system can't differentiate the difference.
Oh, okay.
So your body and your physiology is responding as if you're actually there doing it.
Yeah.
And a couple of things, it desensitizes to this whole concept of violence.
Yep.
We're actually actively taking part in it, all of our kids actively taking part in it. But it also keeps the nervous system really overstimulated. And even, so many of my kids that have, and sleep is a major issue with kids, if they're on screens after 7 o'clock of a night time, like the screens, the light from the screen, and even maybe the electromagnetic radiation really interferes with the brain's being able to slow down and produce the chemicals to go to sleep. So, this overstimulation is going to come against us.
I remember when I was younger, not so young, I can't say the video game, obviously, but if I played it for, I reckon, half hour, and if I turned away from the screen, the walls would be moving up and down.
Wow.
Because of how much brightness and lights would like flash me in the face for 30 minutes straight.
Yeah.
And then that's when I have to put it down. That's time to stop.
That's when you knew that it was time to stop. So, and I think, and that's the challenge with kids is, when you say to kids, you can have 5 more minutes and then you're off. If they're halfway through doing something, they're not going to want to come off that machine.
Yeah, no.
So they've
got to finish the level.
They get really misconstrued with what's, with the whole discipline, like the whole rules and all of that sort of thing as well. So I think it doesn't help them. And at that age, they don't have the ability to self-control. Like at least when your eyesight started to go funny, you knew it was probably a good time to turn your machine off or have a break.
Yeah.
Whereas with kids, they just push on. So I just think, and we'll talk about some of the benefits, obviously, of screen time as well in a minute. But so obesity, which is, affecting up to 50% of kids, it's ridiculous. And the other thing, obviously, when we talk about obesity, it's those the social aspects of, that when you're watching TV, you have something to eat as well.
Yeah.
It's not just sitting and the lack of activity, it's the food habits that go with it. Loss of social skills, like it really does take away from just sitting down and being able to have a conversation. Vision problems, that might have been what's happening with you.
Possibly already mentioned.
Eye strain, creating vision problems possibly down the track, and disturbing content. We've been so desensitized to, what is scary or what is violent that, we watch these sorts of shows without barely a raise in our blood pressure or heart rate anymore. So I think, there's all of those negatives. Benefits of screen time, and don't get me wrong, technologies can have or has had a huge impact on all of our lives and a positive impact in so many ways. However, it's all about choosing the right screens for the right amount of time. So computers, we couldn't be without computers these days. But the challenge is that, computers don't just stay at work now or stay in the office. Like the computers are in our hand,
in your back pocket.
In your back pocket, on your mobile phone. Internet now part of building social networks, which has huge positives, but, obviously huge negatives as well. And, even things like video games have been shown to improve problem solving and logic, hand-eye coordination, multitasking, even planning and logistics. But it's, those are the games maybe that you play together.
Yeah.
But as I said, unfortunately, a lot of those games, you might be playing together, but it's usually to try and,
knock someone else off.
And you're
possibly sitting in separate rooms as well.
yeah, maybe in separate parts of the country. So some benefits, but I just think this day and age, like we're getting less and less social and less. We talk about community and having better social networks, but I don't know if totally online is the
and staying indoors constantly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, like most things, good healthy balance is what you need.
Absolutely, and I think as parents we need to be setting the example and not keep looking at our mobile phones all the time.
All right, I'll try not to. It's health and well-being with Peter Mullen. Now, Peter, we're talking about screen time and how much it's in our lives now.
Well, yeah, and it is. It's become everything.
A constant.
Yeah, constant, and right across the world.
It's not just
in
Australia.
Australia.
Here in Newcastle.
Yeah, it's incredible, actually. It's incredible when things happen and they become a worldwide thing.
Yep.
Like one of my
it's nearly an overnight worldwide thing.
Yeah, and all the excitement about when Apple's putting it, or I can't say brand names, but certain companies are putting out new products.
Phone, yeah.
Like how excited people are worldwide about it. It's crazy. One of my clients was saying to me yesterday, she was from Germany, and she said over there it's the same. Like people are just crazy about their technology and the new stuff coming out. So yeah, it affects us on a global level. So it's not just our relationships one-on-one with our kids, but it's a relationship across the whole planet. But coming back to, one of the reasons that we want to really look at restricting our screen time is that we do want to have healthy relationships. Like healthy relationships are so important for us as a species, but just for our longevity. People in good relationships live longer.
Yep.
So lots of benefits to having good relationships. So developing a healthy relationship with our kids, the challenge these days is now much greater for parents than what it was when my kids were younger. There wasn't as much distraction or and life, honestly, like this is 23 years ago, but life didn't seem to be quite as busy and crazy as what that was.
Take your word for that.
Still a bit crazy, but it's all relative, I guess. But some of the things that we've always found, I always say the quality of our relationship with anybody, whether it's our kids, our partner, family, whatever, is, the best indicator is how much time you spend with someone.
Yeah.
So with our kids growing up, Dana always said, when she was driving the kids, the best conversations were always while they were travelling in the car.
Oh, okay.
So taking your kids to and from school, to and from sport. Often it's the time when no one's on screens, hopefully they're not on screens, but everyone can sit, have a conversation, and, and the kids are sort of in that space after school to talk about what's happened. So, encouraging communication. So in the car, dinner is another time.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we've always had that as a special time it should be. If so many families have forgotten to have dinner at the table of a night time.
And the classic dinner party.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Everyone has everyone's had little conversations and...
Yeah, no one's on their computers or Facebook or...
Yeah.
Mobile phones.
Their things.
So having dinner together at the table every night, not falling in the habit of dinner at different times, because sometimes that is unavoidable, but dinner in front of TV or... just making the time to stop and actually talk and have a conversation. Regular holidays, we always found that, growing up with the kids, we always worked hard, but we always made sure we had good holidays, that we'd go away as often as we could, whether it was just camping or up to the Gold Coast. Or we actually went to Foster every year for a long time. But
camping is a good one too, because you can't have any electrical devices, essentially.
Yeah, and I was just on a bit of a different topic, but I was reading an article recently for people that have chronic sleep problems. One of the best things they can do to reset is go camping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because by 8:30, there's nothing else to do. It's dark, you're tired. You can actually start to practice getting back into a better sleep routine where, so many people, watch TV to go to sleep at night time or have TVs in their bedrooms, which is a bit of a recipe for disaster. So regular family holidays and then, where there's lots of physical activities, where you're going fishing, you're going swimming, you might watch the odd video, but it's not like that you wake up every day and that's what you do all day. So it encourages everybody to get outdoors and, making their own fun and reading as well.
Righto.
Are you a fan of a book or a...
I was just about to say, when you said reading, you can buy books now on your screens, everything now as well. So, but no, I'm definitely a book person beforehand. I will actually turn a page.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. I think I just like, and also I like having and putting it on my shelf afterwards. So when people come around and go, I read that, and be really proud of reading. You can't show, your book phone thing, whatever it's called. What you've been reading. So.
Yeah, I agree. I've already bought a couple of books for myself for Christmas.
Yep.
And yeah, I think having a book, there's something about that for me. I know a lot of people out there say that, you know, screens are better and you can and I have got some books on my one of my devices,
yep.
and it's so easy to get a new book because you can be sitting at home and 5 seconds later you've just purchased a brand new book. But
purchased a library.
Yeah. So it is making it easier for us, but I like to go into a bookstore and actually pick a book. And I think one of the best things we can teach our kids is the pleasures of reading. Like I see it as a lifelong gift. I think if your kids can learn to read and love to read, then that's their imagination, that's their downtime. I think they'll be right for life because it doesn't matter what's going on, they can always, you know, turn to a book. And one of the best ways to encourage better sleep patterns of a night time is not to go to bed and get on your iPad or phone,
yep.
but to go to bed and actually read and you know, read until you're really drowsy, then turn the light off and go to sleep.
Okay, I'm actually happy because I do that now. I feel as though I've done something right today.
You have done, and you like reading, and you like reading a book. So you and I are both on the same page
in that regard.
Did you like that one?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Nice. It's Health and Wellbeing with Peter Mullen on 2NURFM.
You know, in the past we've focused a lot on kids and kids screen time, but today we've sort of segued a bit more into that. It's something that affects all of us basically, whether it's too much time watching TV, too much time on our mobile phones,
or just too much time on a computer. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And our workplaces these days as well, like there's computers everywhere you look. And we haven't even touched on electromagnetic radiation and white noise that we're, you know, that our bodies, our own electromagnetic field is constantly interspersed or overlapped with, you know, all these electrical devices that really weren't around, and mobile towers. Anyway, that might be a topic for another show.
I think that's another whole topic, I think.
So just some tips. And as I said, you know, creating healthy screen times with kids start when they're young, but we also need to lead by example as well, and you know, leave our mobile phones at home if we don't need them.
Have you tried doing that?
Actually, I do, but I get in trouble because that's when my wife usually wants to ring me.
Oh, okay.
So setting screen time guidelines according to the ages of children in your family, but really it's having rules in place.
Yep.
You know, no TV before school, obviously, because that's going to slow up the whole school process. That, you know, any computer games, you know, if homework and sport and everything else has been done, there might be an hour of an afternoon, but definitely no screens after 7 o'clock of a night time, except maybe TV.
Yep.
But just encouraging, you know, families sitting around reading, you know, while everyone's doing their own thing. It's just, they're good habits. Lead by example, limiting your own screen time, offering variety, making sure you have a range of activities and objects to entertain and stimulate your children. So, you know, things like board games. You know, we do board games on holidays. You know, we don't make the time to do it as a regular thing, you know, during the week or of a weekend, if friends come over, rather than to...
Let's all play Scrabble or something called Snakes and Ladders.
Yeah, absolutely. Rather than let's put a movie on now and eat a heap of junk food.
And sit here for the next 6.5 hours.
Yeah. 6.5 hours, you're watching a
whole series.
Yes.
Well, you've got to catch
up. Being choosy about what your younger children watch or play on the computer, and taking an interest. That's a big one these days, isn't it? Taking interest in what your older kids are looking at online as well.
Yeah.
And we haven't even gone into the Facebook trials and traumas with bullying and all those sorts of things as well. So we just open ourselves up to open our kids up to such a wider world that, you know, I think at times is really unnecessary. Keeping TVs, computers and other devices in family spaces. So I think this is really important because most kids these days will have computers in their room, won't they?
Yeah, a TV as well. And
a TV as well, and, you know, their phone in their room as well. So, you know, trying to keep things like that. If kids are on computers, particularly young kids, computers need to be out at the dining room table or...
in like a family sort of space.
In a family space.
Like one room in the house or...
Yep, even if everyone's got their own device, they need to be out there so that when you go to bed, it's about reading, going to sleep, or, you know, whatever. But it's not about going in there to be antisocial and, you know, watch all your different... Because, you like young kids these days could well have a laptop in their room, a phone in their room, an Xbox station in their room, and a TV in their room.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's mental when you think about it. Because we were probably both kids. Our family TV time was everyone watching TV together.
Absolutely.
And whatever Dad chose is what we were watching.
What you watched. And all the TV shows finished at 8:30 back in those days, so that was, you had to go to bed then.
It was all right. I think it was Cosby Show and Family Ties, and then off the bed. That was it.
But yeah, definitely, keeping those devices in family spaces, out of children's bedrooms, turning the TV off before school at dinner time, and, turning all devices off at least 90 minutes before bedtime. But I think just don't get into them after dinner of a night time.
Okay. Right. Or just, so as soon as dinner's done, off.
That's it. Mum and Dad too. You're not going to miss out on the world if you don't get on your mobile phone after dinner of a night time, because that's often, people associate that now with relaxing.
Yeah.
Sit on the lounge, watch TV, and check out your Facebook.
I don't know. Have you read some social media posts sometimes? Sometimes it can be a bit infuriating.
Oh, okay.
That's my humble opinion anyway. But most of it's good, but it can be infuriating.
Oh, the social media stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, yeah, okay. So other people think it's relaxing, but you'd think not.
I think it could be anything worse.
Me too. All right, so that's it for...
Right, that's it. So you've got another weight loss group
talk in the new year.
Yep.
So my last radio date is next Tuesday, the 19th. And I'll be giving my famous tips for surviving Christmas.
Oh, good. That's very handy to have. I'll be taking notes that week, I think.
Particularly since Christmas is like about
a week
after that. So that'll be my last radio for the year, and then our first free talk for the year is on weight loss. Is on the 23rd of Jan.
Yeah.
And it's often one of those New Year's health resolutions that we all tend to make. But it's a really good talk to come along to.
It's the classic one, isn't it?
It is the classic one. So 2018 could be the year.
This is it. This is it. This is going to be.
This is it.
I'm going to be fit as a fiddle this time next year.
It's a good goal. Maybe I'll talk to you about that in the new year.
Right, done. Locked in. Peter Mullen, thank you very much.
Thanks, Greg.
I think you'll have Mark next week as well. So
lovely.
He'll be able to hold your hand a lot better than what I've done today.
Thanks, Greg.